Ed Brodo, let's start with you. What inspired you to devote a year of your life writing a book about Joe Biden?
What inspired me? The disaster that's taking place in the United States as a result of this incompetent man sitting in the White House. Fact. Biden is the worst president in my lifetime. Everything he has done has been to the detriment of the United States and its people. Fact. We have the worst inflation in 40 years. People can't pay for their groceries. They can't pay for food. They can't pay their gas. They can't pay their heating bills. We have millions coming across the border illegally with no supervision. Biden's terrible policy in withdrawing from Afghanistan has resulted in a disaster for American foreign policy. No one respects us anymore. The country is absolutely on its knees, which is why I called my book America on Its Knees.
Well, here's a counterpoint to that before I come to John Christopher, Ed, which is that it was Donald Trump who negotiated the deal with the Taliban to leave Afghanistan. And of course, it was Donald Trump who was in the White House when the pandemic began. And he was the president who began this process of lockdowns and printing money, which is now causing the cost of living crisis. So surely Donald Trump owns at least some of this.
Well, look, first of all, his policy was let's get out of Afghanistan, which was a good idea, but it wasn't his idea to do it the way Biden did, which was absolutely disastrous. That's all on Biden. And as far as the COVID goes, Trump was the one that got us a vaccine. Everybody said that he couldn't do it. And he got us a vaccine in no time flat. So he doesn't get credit for that. Can you explain why not? Because the media hates him. Why does the media hate him? Because they're all in the pocket of the Democratic Party. So there's just a lot of propaganda about Trump. Trump was the best president in my lifetime, and everything that he did accrued to the benefit of the United States.
Well, John Christopher Boer, welcome back to the program. Ed Brodo argues that America is in a very bad situation, raging inflation, major crime waves across America's great cities, America not taken seriously globally now as a military power. Some argue that the reason why Putin had the courage to invade Ukraine is because the incumbent at the White House is so weak.
I can't begin to tell you how much garbage I have just heard in the last 2 minutes, especially from this guest of yours, Ed, who I've never heard of. I've never heard of his book, and it's preposterous what you're saying. And Mark, I have to say, I've been on your show before, but I'm not going to stand here and listen to nonsense from a gloating man who's semi-smiling. I think he's getting aroused by what I'm saying. He's preposterous. Joe Biden, who I've known for 30 years, is a compassionate, smart man. We've got a terrific economy is picking up. Unemployment is down. And where is he today? This Memorial Day weekend, he's in Texas, honoring those children, not soldiers and sailors who've died in wars, but the children who were slaughtered because of the gun lobbyists that go on. And we had Mr. Trump dancing to the names he was mispronouncing of the 19 children and the 2 teachers for a convention of the National Rifle Association, who talk about being in the pocket, who support the conservative MAGA Trump people. And Trump had to get his derriere over there, or otherwise they wouldn't take him seriously. They wouldn't give him money to run for president. And this is all hogwash. So I have to say, none of this is true. I'm not going to stand here or sit here. And I love being on your show, Mark, but I'm not going to take this because it's nonsense. And this fellow, who I can see with his mouth hanging open, really has not a clue what he's talking about.
Well, John Christopher, everyone gets aroused on my show, but the reality is
kind of way.
Inflation is very, very high. The economy is in trouble. America is printing billions of dollars that they don't have, and many Americans are really worried about the future of their country.
That Trump's overspent and gave tax breaks to his cronies in the GOP. That's where we got this. No one can control inflation. The fact that gasoline has gone up, I'll give you that. Petrol has gone up. We have a war in Ukraine, and Trump actually said the other night that he and Putin had discussed the war in Ukraine, and that he didn't identify it as the war. He would not go into Ukraine. He told this to Trump. Trump knows everything. In the meantime, I grew up a mile and a half away from Donald Trump. I've known him since he was a teenager, and I've known his family, and I've known the history of his family, and they are unpatriotic, un-American, and Donald Trump has pulled the wool over this guy's eyes, but he's not going to pull the wool over the electorate's eyes in November, because he's not going to be, in fact, he's losing races already in various states. The Trumps that he tried to back and push have lost. He will lose, and he'll go back to where it is supposed to be, in the world of nothingness.